So you've always wondered how it looks like to properly go ahead and analyze a creative test and what a Facebook marketing agency does when it comes to analyzing a creative test that they have launched within the ad account. Well, then you're in luck, because this is what we're going to do in today's video. I'm going to take you into my ad account and we're going to analyze 2 creative tests. We're going to run down the data and I am going to talk about the actionable insight that this data gives to us and how we can apply that in order to, lay out more tests going into the future. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video here on my channel. For those of you who have not been around before, my name is Victor and I am the founder of Victory Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that helps e-commerce brands to scale their revenues with the help of Facebook ads. In today's video, I wanted to take you into my ad account and to form one of our clients and showcase you 2 creative tests for you to see how am I analyzing those and what kind of key takeaways and learnings do I take out of those creatives, and how can we then iterate upon those and implement them into future tests that we are going to launch within the ad account. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into the Ads Manager. So here we are within the Ads Manager, and before we talk about the particular tests and what metrics and what the performance looked like, let's talk about the different about the column setup that I have in here and that we have across all of our accounts that we are managing. So we start off and really go from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. We start off with impressions, the amount spent to get those impressions, just generally the budget, then the CPM, how much are we paying to get in front of 1,000 people, in front of 1,000 eyeballs. And then we go into our attention rate. So our attention rate is 3-second video plays divided by impression, which will give us a percentage of people that have actually spent more than 3 seconds with our video. Then we have our video average play time. A lot of people also use hook ratio. We've also kind of pivoted towards that, but for now we're just going to stay with video average play time. Then outbound clicks, how many people have clicked through, at what rate have people clicked through, again going down this funnel, right? How much have we paid to get this click? And then, how many people have then, or how much conversion value has resulted from this traffic? What was our ROAS? What was our cost per purchase? How many purchases? What was our conversion rate on that? As well as our average order value, frequency, and last significant edit. Now, with that being said, those are 2 tests that I wanted to talk about today. And one thing that I've created a complete video about and that I will link somewhere around this video right now is that data. Ultimately, what the Ads Manager does, it just gives the data that and how people have interacted with your ad back to you, and you then have the responsibility and the job to interpret this data and take your learnings out of that. So every data set tells a story, and you need to make sure that you figure out that story. So here, in order to tell me that story, or in order to evaluate the story and really kind of plug together the story that a creative is telling me, we are taking a look at 4 different metrics in particular. Obviously, there are other metrics like CPC that we kind of always also observe, but that are not necessarily super important, because they're what I like to call outcomes of our performance metrics. So the first metric that I always take a look at is our attention rate, meaning how many people have actually paid attention to this video and how well did our creative do at grabbing someone's attention. So that was the first one. Then CTR, right? How many people have, not only shown interest or shown how many people have we grabbed the attention from, but also how many people then want to know more about our product and our brand and click through the ad, go off Facebook's platform or Instagram and decide to spend more time with us, our brand, and our product. Then from those people, how many people have actually converted? Meaning our conversion rate is a really important indicator for that as well, which will then ultimately lead to the cost of purchase. Cost per purchase. Ultimately, cost per purchase is our end goal, and cost per purchase really trumps everything else. If we have a bad conversion, if we have a bad attention rate or a not necessarily satisfactory click-through rate, if we still manage to get a good cost per purchase, then we can really say, okay, this is a creative that we want to push more and that we can kind of put some more money behind, because ultimately it trumps everything. This is our end goal, right? But as I've also explained in the other video, right, make sure to check out my channel in order to understand that a lot better, how data tells you a particular story and how you want to interpret this data. The first three metrics, attention, click-through rate, as well as conversion rate, usually lead to that outcome, meaning the cost per purchase. So a good attention rate, thumbs up ratio, a good click-through rate, and a good conversion rate will lead to a great cost per purchase in the majority of the cases. So when taking a look at those two creatives, I always want to first make sure that I identify the drop-off. And I've, for a reason, have picked those two creative tests, because the first test doesn't really have a drop-off, right? When we take a look at our attention rate, we have almost 25% of people scrolling, stopping their scroll in order to spend more time with our ad creative. We've had, a 1.4% of people clicking through, and our conversion rate was also looking good at a 1.73. So all metrics look pretty great, and therefore also our cost per purchase looks good. Our target here is $50 for this particular account, and therefore, we are looking good, and this is a creative that we should definitely, and that we have put a lot more budget behind, and that we've cycled into our core prospecting campaign. The only thing, because this is we can see that our outbound click-through rate, we're aiming, everything above 1% is really good, is good. We can tap ourselves on the shoulder, but everything above 1.5% is really, really extraordinary. So we're scratching right on that 1.5% outbound click-through rate mark. Our conversion rate is also not necessarily something that we have to worry about. The shortest, or the lowest hanging fruit would definitely be our attention rate, right? If we are able to grab more people's attention, then, probably we'll be able to put even more scale behind this. So that is my lowest hanging fruit. I would go ahead and test some more hooks for that particular creative and see if I can get this up while already cycling in that winning creative into my core prospecting campaign. Another thing that might take a little bit more time to implement is going ahead and creating a better offer, or creating a lander, or telling the brand that they have to make a couple of landing pages that align with this particular creative messaging in order to get that conversion rate up. Because if we can see here for this test number 18, we have had a lot better of a conversion rate. And if we go ahead and kind of take a look at this here, it has been a UGC ad, right? And if we can maybe then go ahead, have a lander that portrays a little bit more of a social proof, UGC focus whatsoever, we might be able to bump up that conversion rate. So those are the two actionable insights that I would get from, this particular creative test. First one is, and that is pretty easy to do, pretty simple to implement within a day or two, come up with a couple of more hooks and try to get this up even further, and then be able to hopefully get some better performance out of that and push some more scale, get a, even better cost per click, get more traffic on there, and, further decrease our cost per purchase. Another one is then, as I said, going ahead and, building up on that second biggest drop off, which is conversion rate. So again, I'm looking for that drop off here, right? What are the metrics that are performing super well and they're probably then the most difficult to improve as of this moment? And what are the most lowest hanging fruit, or the lowest hanging fruit for us right now, which in my opinion is the hook ratio right now, meaning, okay, this is probably the easiest to go ahead and improve right now. Have different hooks, and it's not going to be so difficult to come up with those hooks. It's not going to be super difficult to implement those within the ads manager, and we can quickly get that data feedback loop completed and have more data available at hand. Another one that is probably also something that we could test is a landing page test. However, as I said, this will probably have a little bit more work associated with this test, and therefore will take probably a little bit longer since there are more moving parts to it. Long story short, this first creative test is pretty good, right? The three metrics that are actually then leading up to this outcome, which is cost per purchase that we're ultimately aiming for, are all looking good. So what is essentially then the point of this video? Am I just saying, oh, we're launching great ad creative tests? But this is kind of the first scenario that I wanted to show you. Okay, there are creative winners where we can still iterate, but we are already performing at a good rate for them. So I wanted to just show you, okay, the first drop-offs are maybe just things that are performing okay and we want to get them to great. The second one, the test number 18, tells us a little bit of a different story. So we can see that our retention rate is a lot better right here. You know, we are looking at a 30% thumbs up ratio, but our click-through rate is not really as good at a 1.2. And also, however, our conversion rate is a lot better. So our conversion rate is almost at a 3%, which is crazy, meaning the people that are actually clicking through are really performing super well. They're converting, they're a lot more qualified, but we are not necessarily getting to a super good cost per purchase. We're not on target with this, and therefore we still need to need to improve that creative in order to properly be able to cycle that in here. And just as a grain of salt, one metric that you should always be optimizing, or not optimizing, but taking into account is CPM. One of the reasons why our cost per click is double, our cost per click from the other ad test is because our CPM was significantly higher, although it was on the same audience at around the same time of the year, which usually means that there shouldn't be too big of a discrepancy of a CPM. So there's a couple of things that I would do based upon this data, because ultimately what the data tells me is, okay, you're doing a pretty good job at grabbing your customer's attention or your target audience's attention, but you're kind of losing them along the way. But at least the people that click through the ad, they are really super qualified. So therefore, there are three things that, in my opinion, I would do right now based upon this performance, which is, first, and that is just kind of more of a shot in the dark, because of the increased CPMs, I might give it a shot to just test different, variations of that ad creative with different kind of storylines, different kind of clips to see, okay, was our high CPM there just a fluke? And if we kind of tested a little bit more with a little bit of a different variation, just certain tweaks that are not necessarily super much affecting the storyline, are we able to get this cost per mil down? Because then, even this CTR will return in a lot more profitable and a lot better return for our ad spend. So as I said, that is a little bit more a shot in the dark. And the second thing that I would actually go ahead and do is really just focus a lot more on our CTR. So again, talking about drop-offs, our drop-off is our CTR. This is the metric that is lacking for us to get to our desired end result and to get to our target purchase. Therefore, I wouldn't focus on the conversion rate and even think about landing pages or think about hooks, because those kind of two areas are already doing pretty good for us right now. The two things, the thing that I would worry about is click-through rate, and just focus on how to get this click-through rate up. And I would probably launch 2 tests for that in order to see, okay, how is our target customer or target audience reacting to that? And the first one is just a general kind of tip that you can implement in order to get your click-through rate up by 10, 20, 30% all the time, which is, create more incentive. Really give the customer or your prospect a reason to click now and not later, which essentially is never, right? Give them a reason why they should click now. Give them either, some kind of a discount or some kind of a promotion why they should click now because this runs out, or really make sure to emphasize the problem so much that they really feel that urge that they need to solve that issue right now and can't put it off. So those are, in my opinion, 2 really easy to implement incentives for you to go ahead and have kind of an increase in action rate and click-through rate, and make sure that they don't think, that looks cool, that is nice, yeah, I'll think about it, but then they just keep on scrolling and do not really kind of they do not click through. The second thing is just keeping or making your message a lot shorter, right? That would be a second test that I would launch. So making your message a lot shorter this was a fairly long ad creative, 4 reasons why. It was around 50, 60 seconds long. So I would maybe make like a 3 reasons why. Maybe I would go ahead and cut those reasons even shorter, right? And have less clips and, actually portraying and conveying that messaging angle, and making sure that maybe I'll cut this, video from 50 to 20 seconds. And more people will actually understand what this product provides for them and what benefits come with purchasing that, or with clicking through this ad and knowing more about the product in a shorter time frame. So that is kind of the second test that I would launch. And this is pretty much already it when it comes to, analyzing the data set and really taking out the learnings from that. Okay, just to recapitulate what we've talked about over the course of the last 15 minutes, we've taken a look at those 2 ad creatives, analyzed the data, and really kind of interpreted the story that this data set tells us. For the first test, it was pretty much, all green. We could see, okay, we have a little bit slight of a drop off in conversion rate, but people are still converting at a fairly good rate of 1.73%, which is above average, as well as, our attention rate might, could be a little bit better. We are usually aiming for something around the lines of 30-35% for our winning ad creatives. So again, those were the first 2 drop-offs that I kind of analyzed for this first creative test. That were not necessarily drop-offs, but areas of improvement that are kind of a lower hanging fruit. So the first 2 things that I would do for that is, hook tests, as well as then maybe testing some landers if their brand is okay with it. For test number 18, we had a lot more things and a lot more, areas of opportunity, because we were actually not on target with this creative. So our dilemma was there, or our really urgent issue was there, increasing our click-through rate. The things that I would test right out of the gate would be, again, cutting down time from 50 to like 20 to 30 second video, as well as giving the customer or the prospect an incentive to click through the ad now and don't put it off, by emphasizing either the urge to act upon this problem right now or solve that need in their in their life, as well as kind of maybe providing some kind of incentive with a promotion, with a limited drop whatsoever, and something along those lines. And then as a caveat, also maybe launching a little bit of micro iterations to see whether the CPM is going to drop. So with that being said, this is pretty much how I go at. Obviously, there was a lot more. Like, I've taken a look at those tests, for a longer time before, as well as, there has been a lot of planning going into those tests already. Firsthand, that is an account that is already pretty optimized. They're spending around 50 to 60K per month. It is a lot quicker to act upon this data set, but I wanted to really quickly show you how I optimize creative tests, take the learnings out of that, and go into the ads manager with you for you to properly understand how we optimize our creative and really iterate upon that. So if you think that was helpful and valuable, and if you think that you can actually implement those things into your ad account, make sure to smash the like button right below this video. It really helps more than you could ever imagine. I appreciate it so much. And if you want to know more about how to make creative decisions within your ad account and grow your e-commerce brand profitably with the help of Facebook ads and paid social performance ad creative, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. Every Thursday, there's coming a new video of me talking about how to grow your e-commerce brand profitably. So on that note, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time, and see you next Thursday.